Well, trying to create this sculpture.
There we are.
And scrapping together all the parts and pieces and trying to make it happen. It's a very organic process. Master Mechanics Hammer.
I can't weld. Here we go.
Yeah, I'm working for you. Clearly I don't.
A little more here.
Okay. Drip and drips. You got a wet iron?
So, as you know, Lisanne isn't particularly religious, and and she kind of, I'm Patty, by the way, sorry, I don't know some of you, so please come up and introduce yourselves to me, because if I don't know you, I've heard your name, I know, and I just haven't seen you before. Please come in, grab a glass of champagne and come on in. And so Lisanne kind of dubbed me years ago as the person who's going to say the things that she can't say, and in this realm. And as I was considering this week how to do this, you know, I read a lot of things, a lot of poetry, a lot of things. But what came to me to be the truest thing that would come from Lisanne is these words from Virginia Woolf, which she's so literary. She would love that. It's not a question of getting over it or healing. No, it's a question of learning to live with this transformation. For the loss is transformative, in good ways and bad, a tangle of change that cannot be threaded into the usual narrative spools. It is too central for that. It's not an emergence from the cocoon, but a tree growing around an obstruction. I reach what I might call a philosophy. At any rate, it's a constant idea of mine, that behind the cotton wool is hidden a pattern, that we, I mean all human beings, are connected with this, that the whole world is a work of art, that we are parts of the work of art. Certainly and emphatically, there is no God. We are the words, we are the music, we are the thing itself. And I see this when I have a shock. There is a pattern hid behind the cotton wool. And so, if anything can be declared about her life, it's just that. Lisanne's life is a work of art. Her work of art, and we are all the interwoven threads of that work of art. It is Matthew and Carrick, of course, but it is also all of us who she loved well. Even if sometimes you couldn't receive her brand of loving. It was the way she walked in the world. How ferocious and powerful and unapologetically honest. She was about her love that we can always see, and we can know that about her. So I chose this poem for our intimate group because it is how I think she would think about this. She was so grounded and present. She relegated things that bordered on the realm of spirit to me. Clotilda's eulogy, her marriage vows. She made me write her marriage vows. She told me that she knew that I could write something that she could say, so. Not that she didn't necessarily believe, she never knew enough to be sure of what to say about things that really were beyond this moment. It wasn't substantial enough for her to be sure. So, yet at the same time, she didn't want to miss out. If there really was something else, because Lisanne doesn't want to miss out. So this was her, compromise. And she valued her rational mind. She valued her analytical mind. She valued the things she could experience. And she had experienced some things that we may call miracles. But rather than succumbing to an arbitrary belief that could not be verified, she would just not say, or rather she would invite me to say it in a way that she can hear it. And then she would say, okay, I can accept that. So instead, Lisanne put her faith in love. And isn't that at the heart of all of it anyway? Right? She loved with an intense ferocity, loyal and uncompromising. She didn't want to marry John because she did not respect an arbitrary religion or civil law that defines the true contract between two people. Her love for John was never an obligation. It was never a question. It was important to her that it was freely given and freely returned. And then when it became time to be eminently practical, she gave in. The husband for tax purposes only. And then when it became eminently practical and she gave in, as long as I did it and I wrote the right words that she could say. So there were no civil or religious wedding thing that she could do because she had to believe in what she was saying, and she didn't believe traditional vows. She was always true to herself in that way. She did not compromise on what was important. And yes, question authority. Her bumper sticker. Because she required of herself that inner alignment of being true. So when we were at the hospital, Tanya asked if I thought there was a personal soul. Or for Lisanne's sake, let's call it a personal awareness structure. Because she could hear that. So, a personal awareness structure that is unique. And whether we go from this plane to another as this unique awareness structure. That was the question, right? And that's the question, like when you're sitting with your loved one in that situation. So these are the questions that we ask, but we can't imagine a universe where Lisanne no longer exists, right? I think ultimately we all have to answer this for ourselves. But I say, there is no universe where Lisanne no longer exists. She is here. She's in me. She's in how I perceive. She's in every choice I make. She's woven into the very fabric of my daily awareness, and I know that that's true for you too. In this moment, as we stand here together, we are all overlapping and interweaving our conscious energy, our energy bodies, through and between and around each other. And as a psychiatrist said, which she would prefer that, that people we love do become a physical part of us, ingrained in our synapses, in the pathways where memories are created. Our collective love for Lisanne, as unique as it is for each of us, has marked and shaped us forever. Just as this shared grief will shape us in a different way, and as Virginia Woolf says, like a tree growing around an obstruction. Or as David White says, we shape ourselves to fit this world, and by the world are shaped again. The visible and the invisible working together in common cause to produce the miraculous. I am thinking of the way the intangible air, passed at speed around a shaped wing, easily holds our weight. So may we in this life trust to those elements we have yet to see or imagine, and look for the true shape of our own self by forming it well to the great intangibles about us. So I was looking through email and found a message that she wrote to me when my brother died a couple of years ago. She said, "The world outside had him, but he was your brother." So my brother was a Franciscan priest. He had thousands of people who loved him. And he spent his entire life taking care of others and providing spiritual support and comfort as a pastor and as a teacher, as a chaplain. But as Lisanne said, when it comes down to the end, when he was dying, we were the ones. It was us. His brothers and sisters were with him throughout the entire ordeal of his life and of his end of life. So that's a gift. It's a mystery. It's a mystery to be able to share that moment. To usher off Lisanne, surrounded by all of you, wrapped in our love for her, and adorned with colorful scarves. This is her gift to us, to really, really take in this moment for the mystery and for the certainty that it is. Because death, it's a mystery. Afterlife, it's a mystery. Yet, that mystery is the only certainty we have. It's the only certainty we have in this life. Everything between now, right now, and that certain moment is an illusion. It doesn't exist. This exists right now, and that exists. and everything else doesn't. So, remember that Lisanne was the master of being in the moment. And that's what we always have. Everything else is an illusion until the very last, very certain, mysterious moment. Receive this clarity. This is her gift. Lisanne would want you to have that. Be here now. And make it the best. Love each other and drink great wine.
Crazy love, broken through the grace of stumbling, demonstrated through the beauty of messing up. Often. You didn't come here to be perfect. You already are. You came here to be gorgeously human, flawed and fabulous, and then to rise again into remembering. But unconditional love? Stop telling that story. Love, in truth, doesn't need any other adjectives. It doesn't require modifiers. It doesn't require the condition of perfection. It only asks that you show up and do your best, that you stay present and feel fully, that you shine and fly and laugh and cry and hurt and heal and fall and get back up and play and work and live and die as you. It's enough. It's plenty.
Well, it's true. She did marry Lisanne and myself. And I did ask several times before I was approved. And it took a lot of energy to keep up with Lisanne. I worked hard at trying to prepare a statement for tonight, but I couldn't prepare for this. And to see all of you here supporting us, thank you. And thank Patty. She created the world that we revolved around. It was so good.
I did write a little something that I was going to share later. But also, I think the biggest thing in the last week and in talking to everyone here about my mom and their relationships, how everyone has been so 100% sure exactly how Lisanne felt about them and exactly how they felt about her. And I think there's a lot of times where in death, passing, there's a lot of regrets. People say, oh, I should have done that. I wish I had done that. I should have told them how much I love them. And, there's going to be small regrets. I wish I had called her on Skype one more time. I wish I had gone on that trip she told me to go on. I wish I had gone to that happy hour. There will be these small things, but I think in every single person that I've talked to and how I feel is and Lizzie as well, sorry, and you, is that she did tell everyone exactly how much she loved them, and she made it very clear, and she made it clear very often, and it was very easy to make it clear to her as well how much you loved her, and I know that she knew that unequivocally. So I would just say that this idea of regrets, I think, comes up a lot in passing, and I think that is something that I haven't heard, and it makes me feel so much happier to know that everyone else as well has had that same relationship, that same experience, and it's good to hear, and it's good to feel, and to know that everyone knew exactly how she felt, and that we can all be at peace with that as we continue to move through this. So that's all. Thank you all.
I also tried to prepare something, but it was really hard. And so the happiest that I'd seen my mom in a long time was around her new granddaughter, Madeira, who's back there. Just made her way happier than I'd ever seen her. I think it's very apt that she's been talking throughout this whole thing, because my mom, and embarrassing me just like my mom would have done, this exact same thing. And you know, it's one of the most unfortunate things for me is to not have you know, my mom there as a grandma to kind of shape Madeira growing up. She really, really cherished the relationship that I had with her dad. To say it was dissimilar from her own relationship with her dad would be a huge understatement. And I think she would have, yeah, I think she was very excited about that. I mean, I think that Rand and I knew her well enough, and we're going to try and channel as much of her into Madeira as we can, but it's kind of like a catch-22, and that if she's anything like my mom, she's not going to listen to anything we say. I don't really know how to go about that. But, she loved Madeira, and she got to see her 3 times, which is huge. I mean, in just the first 8 months living across the country, it was very fortuitous that we got to go to this trip in Croatia. They visited once, and then we all went to LA for just a weekend. And it was a very my mom thing to do, just leave on a Friday, fly back early Sunday morning, just one night, but just do it, just go for it. She learned a term in Croatia this summer, which is jebiga, which means fuck it. She took to it very kindly. And so, yeah, that worked out really well, and that was just 3 weeks ago. That was great. Jebiga.
Well, I was trying to think of it. I'm Tom, close friends with John and Lisanne and the family, but I kept trying to write some last night. I couldn't. But sitting here, I'm reminded of what was so wonderful about her to me, and that is, in Buddhism, there's 2 boats. There's a big boat and a little boat. Little boat, you have to prove yourself to get in, and some people don't make it. The big boat, everybody's welcome. And if there was one thing about Lisanne, is that everybody was welcome in her boat. Come on, get in my boat, let's go. And then just sitting here this afternoon, I'm a bit haunted because I keep looking at this beautiful sculpture that Dana made. A bunch of people worked on it, and she's out there. But I also saw her sitting over here in a chair with her feet propped up and about 4 blankets and 3 pillows and a good book. And John, can you get another log?
So, on that note, to Lisanne.
To Lisanne.
Jebiga.
Jebiga.